As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Saturday Mornings with Crunch Time Sports. I'm Caleb Czarnik. I'm joined here by Michael Gentry and Flannel Sam. We got a packed show for you guys today. We're going to go over some MLB stuff with the new Kyle Tucker contract, the inevitable lockout that's coming, some Detroit Lions news. We're going to look at some free agents and the OC vacancy. We're going to go into that. Detroit Pistons, NFL playoffs, packed show. Before any of that, Flannel Sam, we have something to not necessarily hash out, but you put me in one sticky situation last Saturday. Packers-Bears. Me and you were pretty adamant the Packers were going to win that game. They were up, 18 points or something, Flannel? I think we both guaranteed a win. Jeff and Booner obviously wanted the Bears to win. You said 45-15 was your final score, or 45-14, I believe, was your final score prediction. Flannel, they lost. Look, I was right there with you talking shit. I was right there with you, but you left me, and I was there alone, drowning while they're laughing at me while I'm losing money, losing in pick'em. Flannel, how did the Green Bay Packers lose that football game?
Well, first off, I didn't have the foresight to realize how bad it could look for you if the Packers did the impossible, which they did. They choked that game away. And not only that, and this is where I'll give myself the greatest mea culpa, and I'm sorry. I started with it's going to be 35-17, and it's going to be 45-14. And at the time, it looked like, I don't think the Bears stopped the Packers once in the first half, except for that missed field goal by Brandon McManus. It looked like a complete beatdown. Ben Johnson was making some really bad fourth down decisions, like going for it at his own 32. But I think he was doing that because he had no confidence that the Bears could get a single stop. And in the second half, everything changed. I mean, Dennis Allen's a damn good defensive coordinator. He was able to make adjustments. The Matt LaFleur, I think he puckered with a lead, which he often does. And we've all seen this season with the Chicago Bears, when it gets to the fourth quarter, when it gets to winning time, the Bears, and Caleb Williams specifically, just has that magic about him, at least this year. So, yeah, it was a dick move by me. I miscalculated horrifically. If it makes you feel better, and you remember this, I did give that FaceTime to Booner at the end as the broadcast was ending, but it doesn't make up for what I did. So, Caleb, I am very, very sorry. I put you in a bad position.
It's okay, Flannel. I forgive you. Shout out to Vincent. Good morning. Chandler, shout out. Good morning. Dark Cash. Is Flannel high? Flannel. You see, you spark up a little bit this morning?
No, I guess I look at it. I look like it from maybe, but at the end of the day, no, I'm as sharp as a tack this morning. Even though it's a 9 a.m. on a Saturday, I'm used to it. And shout out to the boys. We've been very consistent lately. Our Saturday mornings are just opening up, and it's a great thing. Whether it's all three of us, whether it's Lucas, you and me, Caleb, it's been great.
I love it. Well, we got Michael Gentry back. Mike, Florida boy last weekend.
Yes.
How was your little vacay?
It was better than here. It was 80 degrees. So, and here, not so 80 degrees, Caleb. And there's snow outside for like the past 4 days. So,
yeah, it's been nonstop. Let me ask you guys this. I've actually, Flannel, ask you, because I've asked Mike this. I think I asked him maybe every single show last year during the winter. Flannel, how do you shovel your driveway every time it snows?
So I live in a condo complex, and if we wait long enough, we can get it shoveled for us. But sometimes I'll take it upon myself. Like, for example, if it starts snowing and I know me, or even more specifically my wife, if she has to be somewhere in like a half hour and an hour, I'll get out and shovel. But being in a condo, there are some perks, like not having to do your own yard work, and shoveling is part of what they do for you.
You want to know what the worst yard work is? Flannel, it's raking leaves. That is the worst out of all of them. That is the worst. But yeah, Matt, 51 in Florida. Was it cold, Mike?
No.
Shout out Chandler too. He's in the chat. When he went, it was like 50 degrees. That was 2 weekends ago.
No, so I was there for like 5 days, and it was 80 degrees every day when I went there. And then the day I left, it went back down a little bit lower. So it's just perfect timing.
Yep. Jeff Iafrate. What are we doing here? What is this code for? Flannel, can you translate for me? Gentry?
No, that's probably because you guys were talking about the Bears and the Packers.
Okay, sure.
Oh,
He's in here victory lapping.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, that's fair. That's 100% fair. Like Booner he's done an even greater victory lap, and he should, because I could not believe his confidence didn't waver even in.
Okay, it did. Flannel, it did. We all know, but he had no confidence going into that second half. He had zero.
He projected confidence, and at the end of the day, he can say that he never had a doubt, and he can make it believable, even if we know deep down it's not the case. I mean, they made that incredible comeback, and Booner never outwardly showed that he had any doubt.
Yeah, that was, just an absolute choke job. Even like the Packers players are like, dude, I don't know, like how I don't know how we lost. Like we were a lot better than they were. And now Chicago faces off against the Rams this weekend. We'll get into our divisional round predictions later in the show. But before that, kind of almost the biggest news in sports, I'd say this week, or the biggest thing that happened was Kyle Tucker signing a 4-year, $240 million contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Fellas, the rich get richer. The Dodgers add another piece to that already stacked lineup. I think if you look at that lineup top to bottom, it could be the most talented lineup of all time. So a lot of big bats in that lineup. Obviously, you get regression out of like Mookie, but still, really good lineup. Guys, I think the MLB, I think it's broken, and we're not going to have a lot of baseball in 2027 after this 2026 season. I think a lockout is inevitable. If you look at these payrolls, guys, I don't know if this is updated after the Kyle Tucker contract. The Dodgers are first with a $429 million payroll in 2026. To compare that to our beloved Detroit Tigers, $161 million. Guys, that's a $300 million difference, or almost a $300 million difference. Do you guys believe during this lockout, or I guess in the inevitable lockout, are you guys going to side with the players or the owners? Because obviously the players aren't going to want a salary cap. They want the owners to spend freely, so guys like Kyle Tucker can make $60 million, and the owners are going to want some sort of salary cap. What side are you guys going to take?
I mean, personally, I would say salary cap. We see it across all sports. It kind of just evens things out. And the way you've kind of seen it this offseason is, guys are kind of like picking and choosing. You're seeing like Kyle Tucker like having a deal with the Mets. Same thing with Edwin Diaz, having a deal lined up with the Mets last second, dipping out for more money going to the Dodgers. You're seeing like Bo Bichette happened to him yesterday. So I feel like there's got to be a salary cap in there just to kind of even things out, keep everything straight, because like we're just going to keep seeing this every season. Like Skubal's going to be gone to the Dodgers this year. I already feel it in my bones. I already know we'll probably talk about it, but it's just going to keep happening until they actually do something about it and kind of wire it down a little bit. I don't even know how it hasn't happened up to like how it's taken this long, rather.
Well, I think there's gripes on both sides. I think there are small market owners who want to compete and would like to spend more money and actually want to win, but they just don't have it at their disposal. I'll give you an example, like the Tampa Bay Rays. I think that they're an organization and a franchise that tries to win and do it their way, the only way that they can. And you've seen them pop up a couple of times, make a couple of World Series. The problem is, I think we all know that there are some owners who just aren't really trying to win. Like, I don't think the owner, I don't know the names of the Pittsburgh Pirates or Cincinnati Reds, for example, is trying to win. And you see, Caleb, that's a great stat that you have with the payrolls. I'll give you one which I saw. It was on Spotrac's Twitter or Spotrac's X. It was guaranteed salaries. So, another metric when it comes to money that teams are spending, but these also include deferred money. Los Angeles Dodgers in 2026, $2 billion, over $2 billion. And then you have the Padres, the Blue Jays, and the Mets that are over $1 billion. But then you have 11 teams, including.
We lost Flannel Sam.
Jeez.
He was cooking
that
too.
Was like so sudden. It almost looked
Yeah,
like
it was. It was scary.
Kicked him out of here. He was mid-sentence.
Oh, we got him back. You're good, Flannel.
No.
Okay, we're good.
Sorry about that. But
You're good.
no, there's 11 teams, including our Detroit Tigers, that are under $200 million in terms of guaranteed salary in 2026, which is about 10% or less than what the Dodgers have. And even worse, there are two teams, the Marlins and the Rays, who have under $100 million of guaranteed salary in 2026. There's definitely an inequity. It's an unfair game. I understand where the players, like if you're Kyle Tucker, for example, I think having the freedom to sign a 4-year, $240 million contract and go to the Dodgers and ring chase while also having a lot of protection in that lineup, that's appealing. I think that's appealing for a lot of players, like Shohei Ohtani, for example, being able to go to the Dodgers. I get why the players don't want a salary cap, but I do have sympathy for small market owners who are actually trying, but don't have much of a choice other than to play some brand of Moneyball. And we all know Moneyball, it can work in terms of getting you to the playoffs, even division titles, even really good regular seasons. But Moneyball, just straight Moneyball, has never won a World Series. And I think deep down, the owners, they know that. The ones that want to try to do that feel like that's their only choice. But they feel like they're never going to get to the mountaintop. And it feels almost inevitable that 2026, Dodgers get a three-peat, 2027, no baseball.
Yep.
Not great.
Exactly. Flannel, you're exactly right. Like, I do feel for these. Oh, hold on. We'll get you out of solo. But I do feel for these teams that, the small market teams that are trying. But the three teams you name, I would say the Reds, the Pirates, and I'll even, to an extent, kind of throw like a team like the Tigers in there who don't seem like they're trying. Teams like that aren't going to spend the money need everything to be perfect. They need everything to hit. They need all their prospects to hit. They need players to play, above what they're being paid for them to be competitive and for them to beat these big market teams like the Dodgers. Guys, it sucks, really. As a lover of baseball, it's going to be very limited baseball, if any, in 2027, especially if the Dodgers win it all. Brutal. It's brutal. Is
it bad though? Let me just say this, because I have to throw this out there. I like the Dodgers. I don't love what they're doing. I definitely didn't like when I saw Kyle Tucker got signed by them. I was like, oh man, those MFers are going at it, are doing it again. But my favorite baseball player of all time, including Tigers players, is Clayton Kershaw. I had to watch a lot of really bad playoff flameouts. So the fact that he's been able to have multiple rings, have the Dodgers be able to say that during the Clayton Kershaw era, they won 3. I like that. And at the end of the day, one thing that I think we have to give the Dodgers credit for, obviously what they've been able to do, buying that lineup of Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teoscar, Hernandez, et cetera. They've also, and here's where we have to give them credit, they've done a pretty good job, better than given credit for, of adding supplementary pieces to their team, or even homegrown guys like Will Smith. He makes a lot of money now, but he's homegrown. A guy like Max Muncy, Kike Hernandez, Tommy Edman, who was the NLCS MVP in 2024, Andy Pajes, Walker Buehler was homegrown, Evan Phillips, Alex Vesia, Gavin Stone. Mm-hmm. So you got to give the Dodgers credit for that. But going into 2026, having a lineup of Kyle Tucker, Teoscar Hernandez, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, even though Betts looked a little bit worse last year, that does seem like they're putting together the NL All-Star team, or the NL All-Star lineup, but it's just the Dodgers.
Yeah, you didn't even mention all their pitching too. That's the crazy part.
Yeah,
They
Tyler
have
now. That's another one. Yamamoto. I didn't even mention those, and those are examples of guys that they've had to pay for. Obviously, not homegrown. They're not cheap.
Yeah, they could have a 9-man rotation if they wanted to. Truly, they could. Look, I don't blame the Dodgers at all. I know a lot of people don't like the Dodgers, but what are they supposed to do? Look, they have the resources to go out and spend this money. There's no salary cap in baseball, so they're forming the best team they possibly can. And you look at these guys like a Yamamoto signing for them. It's going to be tough for the MLB, and my friend brought up this point the other day. It's going to be tough for the MLB to kind of have a salary cap. It might hurt them, because if the Dodgers don't have the resources to go get guys like Yamamoto, I mean, the Dodgers are bringing a ton of fans from like Japan to the MLB, and that's a lot more money for the MLB. They're gaining a worldwide fan base. The Dodgers, and Mike, a couple months ago, I don't know if you remember this, I kind of gave this analogy. The Dodgers, I think the MLB wants to parade the Dodgers around like they're the Beatles. I mean, they have an insane lineup. They have players that everybody knows in Ohtani and Freeman and Betts and Yamamoto, Glasnow, you guys bring up. I think the MLB kind of wants to parade this team around. Like, look at this all-star team right here. They're going to score 8 runs a game, and they're going to throw, and they have 6 starters on their team that can throw 99 miles an hour. I don't know, but this is a good question here from Xavier D. This is one thing I'm curious about. Dodgers are going to be grandfathered into the salary cap. How else could they do it? That's a good question. Like, what do you do if they do form a salary cap? Do guys like still make, like, do you cut these guys' contracts in half? Like, what exactly do you do? Like, that's where it's going to get really, really tricky.
And like, kind of like he's saying already, like, what do you do about the Dodgers? They already have so many of these guys under contract for extended period amount of time, making X amount of money. Like,
and a lot of it's deferred too, Mike.
Yeah,
so
it's just like
so in like 2030, when I guess like 2035 or whatever it is, where Shohei Ohtani's probably going to make like 130 million that year. Like, what is the MLB going to do? I'm
going to read Booner's comment here. He says, it's cool at first, but after a while it gets old. That Beatles strategy wears off. Would the Beatles strategy wear off if the Dodgers were the Tigers and we were the Dodgers fans?
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. It's kind of like it's almost like the Bulls of like the 90s, where
we'd be parading our ownership and management for spending all this money, and we'd be talking trash to all the other teams for not spending money. Like, don't worry, it gets old because, we're playing against it. But if that was us, we'd be all for it.
Dude, absolutely. Dude, if I was a fan of a big market team, I would be angry that a salary cap is in question. I would be, if I was a Dodgers fan, I would be pushing to no salary cap very heavily. But I want to get to this comment right here. Lance Gordon: Kyle Tucker never hit 300 and only hit 30 homers twice, and only exactly 30, never 31, and he got $60 million a year. Almost unbelievable. And Chris Illitch won't give the best pitcher on the planet $40 million. To start, I want to address that first one. Kyle Tucker is a fantastic player. He is a great hitter. And he's kind of exactly what the Dodgers needed. There isn't many weaknesses on that team. The one weakness you could maybe say is outfield depth, maybe. And they filled that with, honestly, one of the best outfielders in the game of baseball. Now, Chris Illitch won't give the best pitcher on the planet $40 million. Guys, we didn't get to the arbitration stuff last week. I want to talk about that a little bit, kind of see where you guys are at, because I see like people's opinions split on that. Like, are the Tigers really at fault? They offered this guy $19.8 million or whatever that is. That's the most ever offered to a pitcher outside of David Price. And Skubal and Boris obviously countered with, I believe it was like 32.5, which is the most of any arbitration ever. I think it's $1 million more than Juan Soto came with. But look, I think offering Tarik Skubal $19.8 million or whatever it was, I think that's insulting to a guy like him. If they use that David Price number as kind of a guideline on what they wanted to offer Skubal, I believe that's ridiculous. That was 11 years ago The sport has changed quite a bit. The money in this game has changed quite a bit. And guys, if it's that much of a struggle with arbitration with Skubal, what do you think contract extension negotiations are going to look like between the Tigers and Skubal and Boris? So I guess my question is it inevitable that Tarik Skubal will not be a Tiger in 2027 or 2026? And should they trade him right now? I mean, before they have to further with these negotiations, these contract negotiations. I guess it's a broad question, but it's like at this point, what do you do?
I'm under the impression that he won't be a Tiger next year. He might not be even a Tiger by the deadline this year. And to what you were saying about those contract talks have been going on. And so like the arbitration thing, obviously it kind of just was like a glimpse into that to see how cheap they've probably been over this whole process. But like I said, I don't think there's any way with the way things have been going in negotiations, arbitration, everything, there is no way that this team is keeping him, in my opinion. I don't know about you, Flannel, but I just don't think there's a way. And them looking into those other pitchers, Bassett and all that, kind of like reassured it to me.
Well, did you see the report, Mike? If Skubal wins the arbitration hearing, if he gets that $32 million, the Tigers aren't going after Giolito and Bassett anymore. Yeah. That is, and excuse my French, that is so fucking ridiculous that that's the case. That, just because we have to pay the best pitcher on the planet $30 million, that means we're done. I mean, that's too much money. We can't spend any more after that. I mean, what are we doing right now? I'm sorry, Flannel.
No, you're 100% right. And I think the fact that the Tigers have let it get to this point where there's an inevitable arbitration clash between the Tigers and Skubal and Boris is organizational malfeasance. Mm-hmm. I think by now, if you haven't either signed him or traded him, I don't really know what you're doing with Tarik Skubal, because if you really zoom out, you look at the Detroit Tigers, even if they're able to negotiate this arbitration and both sides are happy-ish, which I don't think is going to happen, by the way, but let's just pretend or do this hypothetical. What are the Tigers going to do this year, even with Skubal? And after you get a salary through arbitration or a year salary for arbitration with Skubal, is he just going to leave next year for nothing? There is nothing that indicates to me that the Tigers are willing to try to build a World Series roster in what could be Skubal's last season. And it looks even more unlikely with Alex Bregman going to the Cubs and Bo Bichette going to the Mets. Just another couple of kicks in the nuts.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest. There's been a time in my life where I was a little bit more on board with the Moneyball strategy. I think it's really interesting the way some teams have been able to have success with it. And obviously it was made into a book and a movie, which is awesome. But life isn't a movie. And what changed my perception on all of that and makes me even more upset what they're doing with Skubal is what happened last season. With the way that the Tigers collapsed, with the way that they blew a 15-game division lead or something like that. And you looked at a lot of the Tigers people, a lot of the Tigers fans, and people even like myself were, I wouldn't say victory lapping, but at the All-Star break, we're like, hey, this Moneyball strategy is actually kind of working. Look at those 6 All-Stars. The problem with that is 5 of them, except for Skubal, either shit the bed in the second half or regress to the mean. Literally, Riley Green, Casey Mize, Gleyber Torres, Zach McKinstry, and Javi Baez, all of them, every single one of them had bad second halves. Javi kind of made up for it in the playoffs, but in the second half of the regular season, he was awful. And so was everybody on that list that I just mentioned. The only all-star that wasn't was Skubal. So that basically, that was my villain arc moment where I'm like, this is just not going to work, because a lot of that, 6 all-stars, that big division lead, it was proven to be fugazi. And this season, if Skubal even agrees to a contract or a salary via arbitration, I could see it playing out the exact same way. Tarik Skubal has a Cy Young caliber season. Even if he doesn't win it, still has a spectacular season. But the Tigers go 83-79 or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't want that. and then Skubal's gone for nothing. What good does that do you? Yeah, you got to see all-time great pitcher, or at least a pitcher have an all-time great run in Detroit. That's objectively awesome, but what did it really result in? And you feel like they left some meat on the bones because Scott Harris never spent. He never spent. He seems hell-bent on develop the kids and do this Moneyball thing.
Do you think Scott Harris aligns with Chris Illitch on kind of the whole Moneyball thing, or do you think Scott Harris wants more resources, or do you think he's okay with, I think we could win with kind of developing guys and internal growth? Or do you guys think he's like, fuck, man, I wish I had a lot more money like these other teams? Or do you think he kind of likes the way he's doing it right now?
I think Scott Harris absolutely 100% loves the way he's doing it. He definitely has some smartest guy in the room energy. And you saw one of the organizations that he came from. I believe he was in the Giants organization when they had that 108 win season where they actually won the division over the Dodgers. But when they got to the playoffs, the Dodgers ended up beating them. And obviously the Giants haven't been heard from since. And I trust me, I understand the fetishization for Moneyball. I get it. It would be really, really cool for it to work and for Scott Harris to parade that all around. Like, I actually got the Tigers or team a World Series with a Moneyball. But there's Scott Harris 100%, I believe, wants to win his way. And I think a lot of what you hear from him in interviews and press conferences backs that up.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, like Flannel said, I think he's sticking to his guns, and you've kind of seen his stubbornness with his way. And if he was going to go a different direction and acquire people, spend some money, I feel like you would have at least seen a little bit of it, or seen some trades, something to make this team better. And you haven't. He's kind of stuck to his plan and, the long game. So,
yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, if you're going to keep Skubal around this season for some reason, if you're going to keep him around, you better hope that Kevin McGonigal is Barry Bonds, because, I mean, you're basically putting pushing all your chips in on all of these young guys and internal growth and guys like Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson. So if you keep a guy like Skubal around, I mean, he's going to want to win, and you should win when you have the best pitcher on the planet. So you better hope all these guys get better. Scott Harris is really pissing me off. Chris Illitch, I think everybody knows what everybody thinks about Chris Illitch. I mean, he's cheap. He's not going to spend the money like his dad did. Look, Mike Illitch, I think you could say at certain points was a little irresponsible almost with his money, but I don't care. The man wanted to win. He was throwing money out, and we went to a World Series. Didn't win one, but we went to one. But yeah, just frustrating, annoying, but I think we'll get some more Skubal news and stuff these coming weeks, and maybe he gets traded before. Have pitchers and catchers reported yet, or has that not happened yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so maybe he'll get traded before pitchers and catchers report.
And just a quick correction, Caleb, the Tigers went to 2 World Series.
Yes, 2 World Series, and there was a point this year where I think a lot of us were like, hey, they might make it this year, and they, like Flannel, you said, they shit the bed in the second half. But that's
the thing. Did you expect Zach McKinstry to maintain an 830 OPS for the full season?
Well, that's the thing. I think Scott Harris does. Like the way I describe it, and it might not make sense, but this is the way I look at it. Scott Harris wants to fill his teams with a bunch of unsung heroes. He expects Zach McKinstry to come up with big hit after big hit after big hit. That's just not how you look. You need names to win in baseball. You do. You look at the past teams that have gone to the World Series. They have real all-stars. Look at even the Diamondbacks last year. Yeah, they were, or 2 years ago. They weren't the greatest team in the world, but they had Corbin Carroll. They had Ketel Marte. They had real all-stars. And these guys, I don't know. They don't. No. They didn't have one guy on that team that I was confident when they got up, that when they stepped into the box from they're going to come up with a clutch hit here with runners in scoring position, 2 outs. They didn't. And you had the opportunity this offseason to maybe go grab a guy like that, and Bregman or Bo Bichette or someone like that. I'm not even going to say Kyle Tucker, because I don't think there's a chance in hell we were getting any of those guys. But there was opportunities this offseason to make your team better, and so far they haven't. And they're sticking with Kenley Jansen, and they're going. So that's the Tigers. Oh, frustrating. But let's move on.
Take
to
a deep breath, Caleb. Deep breath.
I mean, just dude, I can't stand it, man. I can't stand it. I'm honestly, you know what? Fuck it. I'm hoping for a lockout. I can't watch Riley Green strike out 230 times and Casey Mize BRA. I can't do it. I can't do it. Just kidding. I love baseball, but let's move on to the Lions here, guys. First report this week, I thought it was kind of funny. Everybody didn't like it. Obviously, Mike McDaniel interviewed for the OC job for the Detroit Lions, but the Lions also inquired on another potential offensive coordinator, former Atlanta Falcons head coach and last year's offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Arthur Smith. How do you guys feel about Arthur Smith potentially being the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator?
I just don't get it. Where does the substance come behind after a year like last year to go out and interview Arthur Smith, who did dog shit with the Steelers, was awful with the Atlanta Falcons? Well, given when he was there, the Falcons did have some offensive injuries, but they had some dudes on that offense, and that offense still didn't look good. So I just don't get it. I mean, I'm head over heels for Mike McDaniel. And that's obviously who I think most Lions fans would prefer. But I think Arthur Smith is legitimately probably at the bottom of my list. I would rather get a guy that I probably have no recollection of, and it's all a Dan Campbell guy, and he has trust in him over Arthur Smith. I would take another, I don't want to say Johnny Morton, but I would take one of those guys of Dan Campbell rather than Arthur Smith.
Yeah, I 100% with you, Mike. And I want to be at least somewhat fair to Arthur Smith. It's not like he's always been terrible. What he's actually had is a fall from grace, because you can go back to his time as the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans in 2019 and 2020. That was an objectively successful tenure. You had Ryan Tannehill playing the best ball of his life. You had Derrick Henry really developing into the dominant running back that we know today. Over 3,500 yards in the two combined seasons that Arthur Smith was the OC. You saw A.J. Brown emerge. The Titans made the playoffs both seasons. And because of that, Arthur Smith, I think, actually rightfully got a head coaching job with the Atlanta Falcons. The problem with Arthur Smith has been the 5 years since. And one more caveat I want to give him, because I'm in the interest of being fair. Arthur Smith hasn't always worked with the best quarterbacks. I'll just say that. He's worked with old Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, old Russell Wilson, old Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, that doesn't excuse the majority, I think, of Arthur Smith's sins. And I mentioned this on Thursday night when I was with Jeff and Booner, but Arthur Smith offenses over the past 5 seasons, 3 of which he's been the head coach of the Falcons, 2 of which he was the OC of the Steelers, are where star players and their numbers, skill position players, go to die. The amount of players, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, George Pickens, DK Metcalf, who have been better without Arthur Smith than with, that's 4 guys. 4 guys who, outside of Arthur Smith, have had superstar-like seasons, especially Bijan Robinson. I mean, Drake London, the second you fire Arthur Smith and bring in, Raheem Morris and Zack Robinson as the play caller, isn't that funny? He emerges into an 1,000-yard receiver. DK Metcalf comes to the Steelers this year, instantly has his career low in receiving yards for a season. 2024 with George Pickens, his 1 year with Arthur Smith, he's known more as a crash out than as a good receiver. He goes to the Cowboys, gets away from Arthur Smith, gets some better personnel, granted, and all of a sudden he's second-team All-Pro. Do you really want Arthur Smith to get his hands on Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta? I certainly do not, because Arthur Smith offenses, I mean, think about this. When have you guys over the last 5 seasons seen an Arthur Smith offense and been like, damn, that's really electric. Damn, that's what we want.
Never.
The only example that me, Jeff, and Booner could come up with was, of course, the game at Ford Field this year, where they ran for 230 yards and Jalen Warren looked like Barry Sanders.
Honestly,
Kelvin Shepard would tell you if they didn't have those 4 plays for 50-yard touchdowns, the defense looked good that day. So let's calm down a second. If Kelvin Shepard said it, if you take those plays away, they didn't play bad.
Yeah, but no, I mean, that's obviously ridiculous. And we've been over that. I can't believe Kelvin Shepherd said that. But my point with all of that is that Arthur Smith has been known to stifle great talents and great players. If you want to be real specific about it, the 2023 season with the Falcons, the issue was the usage between Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. And don't get me wrong, Tyler Algier had himself a great rookie year in 2022, but then in 2023, the Falcons decided to make that investment in a star running back and draft Bijan Robinson, what was it, 6th overall or top 5?
Mm-hmm.
And then that season, Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier got damn near identical rushing usage. But the problem was that Bijan Robinson clearly showed he was the better back. You can see it when you watch him. He's obviously an electric talent, and Tyler Algier is an average talent. But what made it even more worse was that Bijan Robinson that season averaged 4.6 yards per carry, and Tyler Algier averaged 3.7. And that was a Falcons team that, if Arthur Smith had a better feel for his offense and maybe used Bijan Robinson more, the Falcons may have snuck into the playoffs, or they may have at least been a little bit more competitive, and maybe Arthur Smith keeps his job. So yeah, for all of those litany of reasons, I do not want Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator as the Lions, and I don't think he will. I don't think there's a chance in hell that Arthur Smith woos the interview so hard that he's the OC for the Lions next year. There's no way.
Yeah, I think out of everybody that's available, I think he's probably last on the list. But
yeah,
the guys brought it up last night, and it's a good point. Like, the Lions are going to have to wait a long time to see who their offensive coordinator is, because there's going to be some offensive coordinator jobs that are going to open up after the playoffs, like Seattle, for example. Kubiak might get poached for a head coaching position, so that's an OC position that might open up. So we're going to have to wait a little bit. But there are, I would say, I mean, there's a few names I would take over Arthur Smith. Obviously, Mike McDaniel is number one. Mike McDaniel would be the perfect fit. The Lions should be going all in, make him the highest paid offensive coordinator in football. Which, I mean, those numbers are kind of hard to find to see who the highest paid offensive coordinator is, but whatever it is, make Mike McDaniel that. I think Shieldhouse is an interesting name. The pass game coordinator from the Rams, I think that's another guy. Kafka. Mike Kafka from the Giants, I think that's another name. So for me, at least, I think maybe we're all in agreement with all of these names that have been mentioned, like either through reports and everything. Arthur Smith is probably last on my list. He's just the least exciting. Like, you kind of know what you're getting with a guy like Arthur Smith. Like, I want to see what McDaniel can do with these weapons. We saw what he did in Miami with Achane and Hill and Waddle. I want to see what we could do with Gibbs and J-Mo and St. Brown. I think it could be electric. So
I just can't even believe that, like, with all the question marks going on that offensive side of the ball this year and all the stuff moving into next season, that it would even be like brought up to interview a guy like Arthur Smith that has been struggling since 2020. Like, I mean, it just makes no sense to me. Like, that was just unserious.
I think they're probably just keeping their options open. I don't.
It's not even a good option, though.
Okay, sure, you're right, Mike.
You've seen it the last 5 seasons that it hasn't stuck together with two teams that, playoff teams. I just don't see it.
I agree,
especially when there's names out there, and don't get me wrong, I don't think any of us know a ton about them, but when you just look at their resumes, you look at a guy like Jake Peets, you look at a guy like Zack Robinson, you look at a guy like Nathan Shieldhouse. One thing that I like about all three of them is that all three of them come from the Sean McVay coaching tree. And the Sean McVay coaching tree is quickly becoming insanely impressive. Before he turns 40 years old, he already has a better coaching tree than Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin, objectively. Matt LaFleur, Kevin O'Connell, Zach Taylor, and Liam Cohen. And all three of those names, they have varying degrees of experience and impressive things on their resume. Like, when you look at Nathan Shieldhouse, he's the one that's the least experienced. Most of what he's done in his career has been as an assistant at Iowa State and Illinois. But this past season, which is still going on, he can really tout the fact that I was the passing game coordinator in Matthew Stafford's best season. Like a Hall of Famer having his best season with Nathan Shieldhouse as his passing game coordinator. Don't get me wrong, we don't all know exactly what Nathan Shieldhouse does, but that's an objectively impressive thing to have on the resume. And you look at Zack Robinson, for example. Zack Robinson was on Sean McVay's coaching tree. He was with the Rams, I think, for 5 seasons as an assistant. He got the OC job with the Falcons the last couple of years. And it's not like the offense has been lighting the world on fire, but Bijan Robinson, he's emerged. He's gotten out of Arthur Smith jail, had 1,400 rushing yards in 2024, damn near 2,300 scrimmage yards in 2025. Drake London finally got his first 1,000-yard season the first year with Zack Robinson. Even Kyle Pitts, who had a great rookie season under Arthur Smith, to be fair, had 3 years where he was hurt a lot, but also looked like a bust. This past year in the Zack Robinson offense, re-emerged into one of the most productive tight ends in the NFL. That's the type of stuff when it comes to Zack Robinson and when it comes to Nathan Shieldhouse that is really impressive to me. And even Jake Peetz. Peetz, it also comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree. Coached under Nick Saban, has had a lot of really interesting stops. Like in 2019, he was the running backs coach for the Panthers, the year that Christian McCaffrey had 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. In 2020, he transitions into being the Panthers quarterback coach. And that season, Teddy Bridgewater sets his career high in passing yards. DJ Moore and Robbie, at the time Anderson, now chosen, both of them had 1,000 yards receiving. He's the passing game coordinator for the Seahawks in 2024 and 2025. Last season, Geno Smith sets his career high in passing yards. This season, it's just another example of Sam Darnold with competent offensive coaching actually looks pretty damn good. So, like I said, varying degrees of experience and resumes when it comes to Nathan Shieldhouse, Jake Peetz, and Zack Robinson. And obviously, I'd like McDaniel over all of them. But I think when you have some young, interesting names like the guys that I just mentioned, why in the world are you, and when I mean you, the Lions, even interviewing Arthur Smith? There's no reason. There's no spark. There's no potential. It's just Arthur Smith is the literal dictionary definition of a retread. That's what he is, a retread who hasn't had any success in 5 years.
Yeah, I'm not saying it would absolutely give me John Morton vibes, but it kind of does. Hey, at least Arthur Smith doesn't have a connection to the Lions. Like they're not staying someone that's been in the culture before. So that's one thing.
That's kind of what I was just saying is I would rather take another Lions culture guy over Arthur Smith.
Oh, Mike, don't do that.
I mean, okay, it's got to be a certain type of guy, but like I'm just saying, Arthur Smith that's like how low he is on my scale. That's kind of what I was getting at.
Mike, sure. I don't hate it. It's not, that would be a terrible choice to make, but yes. I get what you're saying.
They're both terrible choices is what I was getting at.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, true. But I got some Lions free agents here. I think there's a couple interesting names on this list. I'm gonna say these names. I want to hear if you guys would re-sign them or let them walk. There's a couple inevitables here that I'd probably let walk. I think DJ Reader is a guy that you kind of just have to move off from. You draft Tyleik Williams in the first round to kind of be that DJ Reader replacement. And honestly, Reader wasn't good last year. So, and you see on Twitter, he's already posting stuff about how, he's how Detroit fans don't like him, stuff like that. So I think DJ Reader is kind of an inevitable, unless you guys disagree that I don't think he'll be a Detroit Lion next year. Yeah. A couple names on here though. One that had some contract extension disputes in training camp, Alex Anzalone. Is this another guy you just see the Lions walking away from? Because personally, I do. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, like everything last year kind of in training camp leading up to, him eventually coming back. I just think there's a little distance in, as far as the contracts goes between both of them. And I do think even though Anzalone has been good and kind of hate to see him go, he's been a captain for this team for a while now and, an integral part. I do think his time is up. And it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of go about replacing that. I mean, Derek Barnes played very well. You got Malcolm coming back. It just sucks kind of losing a guy like that, but I don't think there's anywhere to turn as far as kind of like the contracts go at this point in time.
Yeah. For me, it's nothing longer than 2 years, nothing more than 10 million AAV. If it's 2 years at 16, 2 years at 18, I wouldn't be mad at it, but at this point, Alex Anzalone in his career, he's going to be 32 at September 22nd. So basically when next season starts, yeah, short-term, relatively cheap, or he can walk.
Guys, you know where he's going? And I almost want to lock it in. He's going to be a New York Jet next year. That's where he's going. He's going back with Aaron Glenn or another fit, I think, for Alex Anzalone, even though that linebacking core is already ridiculous with Lloyd and Aluakon. I think Jacksonville could be another spot for him as well. It's from Florida. I think maybe he just wants to stay home for the kind of the end of his career. So yeah, Anzalone, I'm kind of in that boat too. Like if we sign him back for cheap and for not long, Flannel, I agree, but I don't see it happening. The reason I don't see it happening. Go ahead, Mike.
I was about to say, I don't think he's going to go for cheap. That's kind of been like the basis of the last year and, their contract negotiations. But go on, sir.
I think one of the reasons they're not going to bring him back, and this kind of leads me into the next name I want to bring up, is because I think they re-signed Malcolm Rodriguez. Yeah. I know a lot of last year he was out after tearing his, I believe it was ACL the year prior, so he missed a lot of time. I think Malcolm Rodriguez is a guy they're going to bring back. They're going to get him back for cheap. Really cheap, considering he barely played last year. He's been a good special teamer for this team. He's been a guy. He was got the nickname Rodrigo from the Hard Knocks stuff. He kind of forced his way into playing time after a really good training camp in his rookie year. Rodriguez, guys, we bringing back Rodrigo?
I would. I mean, I think it's kind of a low risk. It's not like you're going to have to pay him a boatload, and I think you kind of did see something in his tenure here as far as like when he was healthy goes, obviously. But I do think they would still have to go out and address the linebacker position. I don't think you just get Malcolm Rodriguez and you're like, oh, we're good now. Like you still have to go out and get another guy as well to play alongside them too and kind of rotate them in, or maybe rotate Malcolm in. You go out and get a more stabilized player. What about you, Flannel?
Xavier D puts it perfectly. Cheap depth. I think the fact that he's coming off of an injury and this season he really wasn't in the starting defense rotation. I mean, you just look at his numbers, 12 total tackles in 7 games. That tells you all you need to know. But we've also seen the year before he got hurt, he was playing some damn good football. So I guess my point is that I think he's somebody that you can sign the Detroit Lions for something that just seems almost like you're stealing him, but then he overperforms his contract. So yes, Malcolm Rodriguez, bring him back.
Yes. Well, Art Vandelay right here, he kind of leads me in my all these guys, Amik, or did he bring up? He did. Amik, Khalif, Rock Ya-Sin, AQM, Roy Lopez. If you can get, and Maddox, he brings up, if you could get all of these guys on cheaper deals, I don't think you're going to get AQM on a cheaper deal. Considering he just had 11 sacks last year. But Lopez, I think, is a lock to bring back. I mean, he was essentially your best interior defensive lineman last year. I think that's a guy you bring back. Rock Ya-Sin wasn't great, but he was kind of put into a difficult situation with DJ Reed playing really bad football opposite of him and Terrion Arnold getting hurt. Rock Ya-Sin kind of just getting plugged. And Stewart, I mean, he's a special teamer. We'll see with that one. Maddox. These are kind of just like, they're depth guys, but like you're not bringing these guys back to be starters on your team. Hopefully.
And after that AQM quote rather about, I'm going wherever I'm valued, or I need to go wherever I'm valued. He's looking for the bag. He's gone.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, and someone's going to overpay him because 11 sacks, no matter how impactful or not impactful they are, they don't grow on trees. And I could see somebody overpaying him and he doesn't live up to his next contract. I would love if the Lions could keep him on the cheap, but that's not going to happen. If you're asking me a couple of realistic re-signings from that wonderful list, Roy Lopez and Avonte Maddox. I think those are guys that if I were GM Flannel, get them cheap. I think Avonte Maddox later on in the season played really well.
Yeah, I think so.
Roy Lopez was their best D tackle. And imagine if next year they could sign someone, draft someone, maybe get better production from Aleem, and Roy Lopez is just a really damn good depth D tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Flannel, do you want a Meek back? I mean, obviously he had some struggles, but he was kind of bouncing around a little bit all this year. It wasn't the typical Meek we've seen. Is that a player that you guys are or looking to get back? I don't know. Sorry, my screen just glitched right as I was talking.
It kind of depends, and this is going to sound so fucking crazy, and you guys are going to probably call me stupid considering I don't think he's played an NFL game before. I think a lot of Amik for me depends on the health of Ennis Rakestraw. I'm not saying that Ennis Rakestraw is going to be a starter on this team, but I think Amik proved last year, kind of at the end of the year, that instead of maybe this guy being a key starter for our team, he could just be depth. So if Rakestraw could stay healthy and has a decent training camp, and I know Dark Cat, I know this sounds ridiculous, but I think if Rakestraw could add cornerback depth, I don't know if they re-sign Amik. I know it sounds crazy, but I mean Amik was not good down the stretch. I think Amik, I think Amik can be a depth piece for this team, but I don't know. What do you think, Flannel?
Okay, so and you kind of did the Rakestraw thing, so I'm going to do a little bit of a personal vendetta thing. I don't like Amik Robertson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like what Amik has become. I don't like what Alex Anzalone has become. I think the Lions' arrogance has permeated their way towards those guys, and you saw way too much of Amik Robertson talking smack and not backing it up and even continuing the smack talk in press conferences. We all know, or media availability after games. We've seen Alex Anzalone just pimp himself on social media, all these wonderful stats. Oh, even before into this last season. Oh, basically saying the Lions aren't treating me right and all of that. But I think one of the things that could make Amik Robertson expendable is, in my opinion, and I think some of the numbers and metrics would back that up, Avonte Maddox towards the end of the year was damn good in that slot corner position. I'd rather have Avonte Maddox than Amik Robertson. Call me crazy, call it a little bit of a personal thing, and that's fair, but Amik to me can go. That might not be responsible of me to say, but let me have my one personal vendetta.
You're allowed. You're allowed that.
It's Amik Robertson. It's not like I have a personal vendetta against Kirby or someone like that.
Honestly,
you're allowed to have that. And I do. I'll never say Ennis Rakestraw's name again. That is on me. That was just, and I'll say this. I don't know if this ever happens to you guys, right? When you say something, you're like, that's one horrific take you just had, Caleb. That one I just had, and any shit I get in the chat is warranted. That was bad. I'm going to look back at that one and say, why did you even bring up Ennis Rakestraw?
No,
why did you even bring up his name?
I'd be okay with either way. If Amik leaves, if Amik comes back, I prefer him to come back. I think he would have a bounce back season. I don't think what we've seen really last year, and especially towards the end of the year, is the Amik we all kind of know. Obviously, we didn't really see that consistency, but like I said, he was bouncing around. He was multiple different assignments every game. So I kind of do want to see him back.
Agreed. Well, fellas, I'm okay with going a little bit over today because I do want to talk some Pistons. Kind of what I wrote on the show sheet, where does Cade Cunningham rank amongst players in the NBA? And kind of what sparked this conversation for me was I was watching the Lakers-Hornets game. I believe it was 2 nights ago. And I think Booner knows why I was watching that game. But look, and I was watching Luka Doncic play. And I think a lot of people would say Luka is probably a top 3 or 4 guy in the league. Would you guys agree, especially offensively? He's a fantastic scorer, maybe the best scorer in the entire NBA.
Yeah.
But I'm watching that game, and it could have been biased, and it could just be because I'm a really big Cade fan. But it's like Cade Cunningham has a bigger impact on the basketball floor, on the floor, than Luka Doncic does. I'm watching Luka Doncic play defense. I'm watching him almost shoot the ball every time he gets it and not necessarily run an offense. And I was thinking, I'm like, if I'm ranking players in the NBA, where do I put Cade? Because like I said, I'm just watching Luka and I'm like, God, Cade Cunningham has a bigger impact on the floor than Luka does. Am I saying he's necessarily better? No. But do you think it's fair for me to say that, considering the impact he has on the floor, what he does for his teammates, the way he scores down the stretch, that Cade Cunningham is a top 7 player in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for sure top 10. And as of right now, I think he's in that top 5, I guess you would say, for like having a top 5 season as of this year. I would say I think he's doing a lot better than a lot of those guys that you could say are like top 10 players this year. And I think he's worked himself way into that. And I kind of see what you're saying, because Luka's defense really does cost a lot, and to where
it does. They hunt
Cade's defense is, very good. And one thing, he's gotten very clutch down the stretch. He was not like that last year, and he's been able to finish games. So that's gone a long way as far as that, top player conversation goes. But yeah, I would say as of now, especially this year, 100% he's in the top 7.
Yeah. So when I saw this topic, I got all giddy because I love making lists. Shout out to John the Doc Macaroon. So I actually made a list, and I'll tell you exactly where Cade ranks on my list. Right now, Cade Cunningham does rank at 7. And before I give you my whole list, let me give you this caveat. I have Cade over LeBron, KD, Kawhi, and Steph. And obviously,
I think that's fair.
Obviously, those guys are all legends, all-time greats, Hall of Famers, MVPs, Finals MVPs. But I think Cade right now is better than all of them, what they are now, even though all of them to some extent are still balling. Like if you want to put Steph and Kawhi over Cade right now, I wouldn't fight you too hard. But for me, those guys are in a little bit of a separate tier. There's obviously guys that are definitely still better than Cade, like Jokic and SGA and Giannis. And then there's a second tier with guys that I still think Cade has to pass. I still put Jason Tatum over Cade Cunningham, even though Jason Tatum's been out. You have to respect what he's done for first-team All-NBAs. My list is kind of comprehensive, so it's not just who's better at this second. I think resume has to take into account some of it, along with what they're doing right now. I still have Anthony Edwards over Cade, even though I really like Cade's game. I like for Cade to pass Ant Edwards, but with what Anthony Edwards has done this season, career highs in points per game, career high in field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, he's led the Timberwolves kind of out of irrelevancy and had a couple of deep playoff runs. I'd still put Ant Edwards over Cade. And I personally would still put Luka Doncic over Cade. And I know that might be controversial amongst the chat and amongst you guys, but with what Luka Doncic has done, everything that you said, Caleb, is correct. His defense at times, and as he gets further along in his career, at times is, for lack of a better word, abominable. But he's also objectively just one of the great offensive talents any of us have ever seen and watched in his prime. And Luka Doncic, he has absolutely impacted winning, just not a championship. He got the Mavericks to the finals. He led them to another deep playoff run. He's a 5-time first-team All-NBA. Even this season, he's averaging 34, 8, and 9. The three-point efficiency isn't great, but I still think Luka Doncic as an offensive talent, and the fact that the Lakers are still winning with him as their best player, although not to the level maybe they should be, I still for now would put Luka over Cade, because Cade still has not had that great playoff run yet. I still think he needs to do that one more thing. But right now, I'm very comfortable with putting Cade Cunningham at 7, even above guys like Donovan Mitchell and Brunson. I'm not going to kill you if you try to put those guys above Cade, but me personally, I take Cade. I'd take Cade right now even over Victor Wembanyama. And I know some people would put Wemby over Cade, but Wemby hasn't even played a playoff game yet. Wemby could be number 1 by next year. Seriously, he could. Or maybe top 3 at least, but still need to do a little bit more.
I do want to see
Cade at 7.
I would disagree on Wemby. You're right. I do want to see him in a playoff format where the game gets a little bit more physical, how he holds up there. But Mike, I saw you start these. I do want to bring this up. If you take Cade over Luka, you're a Piston slappy. I personally don't think that's true at all. I would probably take Luka. Like Flannel said, he is outside of Jokic, he's the best offensive player in the entire NBA. But he is one of the worst defenders I've maybe ever seen. The effort is limited, and he gives you nothing on the defensive side of the floor. The one thing that makes Cade Cunningham so special is that he'll give you 28 and 9, and he will guard the other team's, I mean, second best player, considering Asar's probably guarding the best player, but he is not a black hole on defense for the Pistons. He makes a big impact on the defensive side of the ball for the Pistons. And Luka people hunt him in 1v1 in ISO situations. People hunt Luka Doncic. And the only reason they might hunt Cade Cunningham is to wear him out. So he can't do that much offensively. But I mean, if somebody gave me a list where Cade was like one spot over Luka, I would not call them crazy. Because yes, Luka is the best offensive player in the league, but he plays zero defense. Zero defense.
I think all of us to some extent can agree, or maybe not. You guys mark me. Cade, I think we all have him at about 7 or somewhere in that range, like 6 to 9 or something like that. I think as high as 7, if you wanted to rank him even at the bottom of the top 10, fine. But might disagree. But, Brunson, Mitchell, Wemby, I get that there's debate. But in the top 10 comfortably. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cade's better than Donovan Mitchell, too, by the way.
I agree. I agree.
And Brunson.
I agree.
Donovan Mitchell has had a stacked team in a weak-ass East and hasn't done nothing. Gets knocked out of the first or second round every year. So, but let's go on, Caleb.
Real quick, the doc deal. Pistons get Porter. Nets get Isaiah Stewart and Dennis in a second. Doc, look, I want Michael Porter Jr. more than as much as the next guy, but I'm not giving. No, Mike.
Pick me, Caleb. Pick me.
Mike, you wouldn't.
I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do this. It can't be Stu. It sounds crazy. Clip it, whatever. You're not trading Stu in this trade.
Yes.
Doc, have you seen other mock trades where the Pistons would actually have to give up stuff that we would all be okay with?
Yes, Tobias and Tobias and Ivy in a first. I'm not okay. Mike, Asar? He's not it. You're not doing it?
Yeah, he can go. I don't care.
Whoa! For Michael Porter Jr., dude?
Oh no, I thought you were just saying in general. I didn't think you were doing this trade. I thought you were just saying in general.
That's my bad. But yeah, real quick, trade deadline stuff. I mean, it's kind of going to be the same. I mean, I think it's the same guys for all of us. Michael Porter Jr., I think Trey Murphy is a guy. If you could package Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, that'd be unbelievable. And I want to say this about Michael Porter Jr. and people saying they don't want him because he doesn't pass, blah, blah, blah. The Pistons are like 25th in the league in 3 points attempted a game. I want Michael Porter to shoot the ball if he comes on the team. That's what he does best. He's shooting at, I believe, a 40% clip from 3. So if he's shooting a lot and making them, who cares? He is the perfect fit for the Detroit Pistons. A guy like Trey Murphy, I believe he's averaging 30 points on close to like 50, 40, 90 in the month of January. He's been unbelievable for the Pelicans. I would give up quite a bit for Trey Murphy.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, and I don't want to give you the satisfaction. I don't necessarily know if Asar is in that package for me. I don't know if he is, because you know how I feel about Asar. I think he's such a unique player. I don't think we've seen close to what he can be as a player, especially offensively. But I would give up quite a bit for Trey Murphy. He is a baller. And it could be one of those things where, yeah, good stats on a bad team, but he's pretty damn good. Trey Murphy.
And that statement about Asar is fair. But if he, like I said, and I always say, if he's the player that's holding me back to getting one of those top tier superstars, I'm still considering it.
Wait, Doc, so are you saying you would reject Tobias Harris and Jaden Ivey in like a first for MPJ, but you would trade Stu?
Doc's a Stu hater.
Oh,
no,
is he?
No, I don't think he's a Stu hater. And Doc, you can either you're just messing with us, or maybe Doc is an Ivy stan. Because those walk among us.
Yes, they do.
The ones that still to this day swear that if Ivy had the keys to the team. I'm not saying, Doc, that's you, but those people still exist.
Yes. I remember, I think it was my first week at Woodward, and the first big clip when I was there was Stick saying that the Pistons should trade Cade or something like that, and it should be it should be Ivy. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with the Pistons. Hopefully they're aggressive. Sorry, Flannel, what were you gonna say?
No, to me, and I'll just be brief. Trey Murphy is my number one target. If the Pistons can get him, and the reason why I'd even want him over Michael Porter Jr. is the fact that he's under contract, Trey Murphy, for this year and the next 3. So you're looking at just 4, like half of one season, and then the next 3 of Cade being Batman and Trey Murphy potentially being Robin. And one of the reasons, and I get it, Pelicans are a bad team, and obviously, like the Zion Williamson situation, he doesn't play a lot. That's part of the reason why. One of the reasons why I'm confident in Trey Murphy not just being a good stats, bad team guy is just look at this season. It's not even just this last month where he has been on a heater. The whole season, his shooting splits are 50, 39, 90.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the Pistons need. Exactly. And you get him for a while. You'd have to give up probably a little bit more, maybe a piece that's going to hurt. But Trey Murphy is my number one choice. And before we move on, do you guys mind if I give you one name of somebody more in the margins that I've been looking at?
I'd love it.
That wouldn't completely satisfy a lot of Pistons fans, but I think is an interesting potential trade target. How about Ayo Dosunmu?
Sure.
I think I butchered that last name.
No,
it's a hard one to pronounce. Current like backup point/combo guard on the Chicago Bulls. He's on an expiring contract. This season, he's averaging 14, 3, and 4 on 51, 44, 86 shooting splits. His 3-point percentage has gone through the roof this year. That's not actually who he is, but he's still a pretty damn good shooter. He's somebody who can be a secondary ball handler. He can shoot. He can create for himself and others. And he's done what he's done this year on only 26 minutes per game. His per 36 numbers are 24 and 5. And with Ayo Dosunmu, I know that this is not something, it's something more anecdotal. Doesn't Ayo Dosunmu just look and feel like a Piston?
He does.
Kind of more of a gritty type guy whose grit's being wasted on the purgatory that is the Chicago Bulls right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you'd have to give up a whole lot to get him because he would be a rental. And obviously, if you do something like Ayo Dosunmu, you're hoping that he can propel you to a championship, not just a finals appearance. But I think that's a decent in the margins trade target. I don't even know if he is a target. I just know that he's an expiring contract that I think the Pistons should look into. But obviously, a Michael Porter Jr. trade, a Trey Murphy trade, that would obviously have me doing backflips. But an Ayo Dosunmu one might be one of those where I can be like, see, this smart guy told you first.
Yes. Look, I actually like that a lot. I like Ayo a lot, Flannel, especially because he can handle the basketball, and they don't have a lot of players that can do that. And I think one of the players the Pistons really needed to do that was Caris LeVert. And in my humble opinion, I've said this a couple times, Caris LeVert has been bad for this basketball team. He tries to do too much. He's not that efficient from the field. He has he just doesn't make that much of an impact on the floor. And I think if you bring Ayo in, he could kind of take that spot. Maybe you do a swap. Maybe you do a LeVert for Ayo swap. I would love that, Flannel. That's a great name. One more Pistons thing before we move on to the divisional round. The Doc, what do you think about Jaren Jackson? Guys, I have an opinion on Jaren Jackson, and it's that I'm not a huge fan of him. I know he's an exciting name, and he's a former defensive player of the year. I personally don't like his offensive game that much. I would almost classify him as a shot chucker. I know that is a not a loose term, but a term people don't like that much, but I think he's kind of one of those guys. I really don't like his offensive game that much. He is a phenomenal defender, obviously a defensive player of the year, but I think he'd be too expensive and just not the biggest fan of Jaren Jackson. What do you guys think?
Same thing. Every time I watch a Grizzlies game, or the Pistons are playing the Grizzlies, whatever it is, he's standing at the 3-point line. Another thing about him is he doesn't rebound efficiently. So you're trading. He is a great defender by all means. Maybe Duren kind of takes that rebounding aspect a little bit off his hands. But as far as putting him in the Pistons offense, is he going to be standing at the 3-point line? That is not what we need out of a trade acquisition, unless it's like a Trey Murphy. If we're going to go trade for a guy that's going to stand at the 3-point line, I want a guy like Trey Murphy that can actually do other stuff with the ball. He can play make. He can take it to the hoop. I just don't like the idea of Jaren Jackson in the offense as much as he kind of fits that defensive identity. But like I said, he's not a very good rebounder, but thankfully we have Jalen Duren, who's good at rebounding, a few other guys as well. But I don't know. I'm not really a Jaren Jackson guy either.
Well, with someone like Trey Murphy and Michael Porter Jr. and even Ayo Dosunmu, which we'll put that in a different category, they would be more seamless fits into this Pistons offense. Jaren Jackson Jr., I want to be fair. I would say that Jaren Jackson Jr. was like a really inefficient shot chucker for a big part of his career, but his percentages have gone up in the past couple. He's putting together a little bit more of a polished offensive game, but obviously he has some flaws, which Mike, you went over. But the thing about Jaren Jackson Jr., and Mike, you mentioned this too, and Caleb, I know you know this as an NBA junkie. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a bafflingly bad rebounder.
Yes.
5.5 this year. He's been around that range for damn near his entire career. That tells me that he spends too much time on the perimeter, which when we watch him play, you see it. I wouldn't be devastated if Jaren Jackson Jr. was the trade target. A, I don't think it's going to happen. And B, I think there's better fits with guys who are more exactly what the Pistons need. I don't think they need a defensive player of the year caliber player as much as a dead-eye three-point shooter. Don't get me wrong. A defensive player of the year caliber player who puts up the offensive numbers he does. I'm not saying that he's chopped liver. It's just he's not as much of a seamless fit as Trey Murphy and Michael Porter Jr.
I think Jaren Jackson's fit defensively is perfect. Honestly, I think it takes away some of the rim protection duties of Jalen Duren. Obviously, because Jaren Jackson Jr. is one of the best rim protectors of basketball, but you guys are right. Just offensively, rebounding, I'm just not that big of a fan of Jaren Jackson Jr. And it's not like Memphis doesn't win, and like they have like a decent roster, or did for years. I know they were in contention a couple years, but I mean, I'm just not a fan. Not a fan of Jaren Jackson Jr. Doc, you bring it up. I mean, it's a name that's been floated around, so it's not crazy, but I'm just not a big fan of Jaren Jackson Jr. Booner, you're right. Yeah, he's a Tobias Harris upgrade, but I mean, you got to also think about the fit for the team. And I don't know if Jaren Jackson necessarily fits offensively for the Pistons. But we're going to move on here to the NFL divisional round. A little buy or sell. I got 5 buy or sell for you guys. Actually 4. And then we'll get into just some predictions. I did my pick 'em last night on the 4 games. Some people say this is the best round of the playoffs, or the best week of football all year is the divisional round. I kind of agree. I love the divisional round. But here's the first buy or sell for you guys. Buy or sell. Both 1 seeds will lose in the divisional round. Those 2 1 seeds being the Broncos, who are playing the Bills, and the Seahawks playing the 49ers.
I honestly really like the Seahawks, but with Sam Darnold, who is it? Adam Schefter just tweeted that he hasn't thrown a ball since Thursday. So going into this game, you have a quarterback that hasn't thrown a ball, which the 49ers looked pretty damn good last week. I don't know. This is going to be a defensive battle, but I think I'm going to sell. I think the Seahawks still pull it off. I'm not confident really in the Broncos. I think Josh Allen kind of has one of those games that pushes the Bills over the edge and gets on the W. I think I'm going to sell. I think the Seahawks, I don't know. If Sam Darnold can throw the ball, I like the chances, but that's a lot.
Flannel? Flannel frozen?
All right, I'll remove him real quick.
Yeah, I honestly am going to buy. I think the 49ers win. I think they win this game. I think I said it yesterday on the show. I think they're almost like they give like America's team vibes.
They kind of do.
With Shanahan, all these injuries and stuff, I think everybody's like, I know they've been to the Super Bowl before. It's not like a team that has never won before, but I think everybody's kind of just rooting for them. They have a lot of likable players on this team, and I don't know. I think they pull it off. Like you said, like Sam Darnold has that, what is it, quad thing, that weird quad thing.
It's like an oblique or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. I've been pushing for the Seahawks, right? I mean, pretty much for a minute now. So I don't want to switch up on him now. I hope Sam Darnold plays, but if Drew Lock plays, they virtually have no chance.
Flannel, you good? We're good.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Flannel, buy or sell. Both 1 seeds will lose in the divisional round.
Sell. I think the Bills beat the Broncos, but the Sam Darnold potential injury changes a lot of things. My thinking is that the 49ers injuries catch up to the Seahawks. I mean, the 49ers injuries catch up to them playing the Seahawks, because at some point, losing all of those guys is going to prevent them from getting to the mountaintop. And I've changed my stance since Thursday when I was on with Jeff and Booner. I officially predict that the Seahawks will win, but that the Bills will beat the Broncos.
Sure. All right. So I buy, you two sell.
Yes, sir.
That's fair. That's fair. Second one. And this is a team I've praised quite a bit. Buy or sell. The Houston Texans will hold the New England Patriots to under 21 points. Buy or sell.
I'm going to buy that. And honestly, I think they still win the game. I still think the Pats win. And I think that'll be a low-scoring game. I think Texans defense obviously phenomenal. I'm just not too confident in C.J. Stroud putting up any points really to win that game either. But I think the Patriots still could get below, 21 points or whatever it was you said, and they could still win the game. So I'll buy it.
I'm going to buy as well. The Houston Texans pass rush is elite. They have a damn good secondary as well. Obviously, we know Drake May has been great. The running game, led by Travion Henderson, been awesome. Stephon Diggs, all of that. But to me, this Houston Texans defense is becoming, as the season goes on and as they continue to do what they've done, they're becoming special. They're becoming an elite unit that can maybe help get them to the Super Bowl. And I think the Patriots, with their lack of experience and playoff metal, this is a team that the Texans can rattle. Yes, the Texans hold the Patriots to under 21 points. Bye.
I agree. This is one thing the Patriots didn't do well last week, even though they won, is protect the quarterback. And, they're playing the best defensive line in football this week. And the best edge rushing duo in the league this week in Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. So I'm going to buy that as well. The Houston Texans will hold the New England Patriots to under 21 points. Third, buy or sell. If the Rams win the Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford will retire. Buy or sell?
I don't. I think if they win the Super Bowl, he'll still give it one more go. I still think he plays. Win or loss, he's playing another year in the league. He's just playing at an unreal level right now, and things are flowing over there in LA. I mean, the addition of Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua is just unreal. I mean, Stafford is playing at an MVP caliber. In my opinion, he's the MVP of this year. So I think he stays no matter what. Win, lose, Super Bowl, not. Doesn't matter. He's coming back.
So, Matthew Stafford just had the best season of his career. I understand that he's older, but think about this. If you're Matthew Stafford and you lead the Rams to a Super Bowl, get the Super Bowl MVP and the regular season MVP, you get to come back with Puka, with Sean McVay, and potentially really establish yourself as one of the all-time greats if he can have another spectacular regular season and another maybe Super Bowl or long playoff run. Matthew Stafford is coming back regardless. And I think if he leads the Rams to another Super Bowl win, he should be thinking about where he can rank all time. If he gets the Rams to another one and has another spectacular regular season. Even without that, 2 Super Bowls, a Super Bowl MVP, a regular season MVP? No, Stafford's staying in the NFL for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this. I'm going to sell this as well. Just because, kind of like Flannel just said, he's having one of the best seasons of his career, if not the best season of his career. Yeah, he is older. There is an argument where maybe he wants to go out on top if he wins the Super Bowl, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to retire if he wins it. Now, last one, another older quarterback. This isn't necessarily a divisional round one. This is more of just a playoff one. Buy or sell? We watched the last snap of Aaron Rodgers' career in the wild card round. Buy or sell? Aaron Rodgers played his last snap in the NFL.
I'm just gonna say sell. I think Aaron Rodgers is always on some bullshit in the offseason, and it'll probably come right back around. I don't know what team, if it'll be the Steelers, where he'll go. Probably like end up back in the NFC North, just like Brett Favre. I don't know. I don't think we've seen the last of Aaron Rodgers.
I am going to buy I don't think there is any team that wants Aaron Rodgers moving forward. That's no disrespect to him, like all-time great Hall of Famer and all that. But right now, he's more trouble than what he's worth. He's going to be, 43 years old? No, Aaron, and don't get too caught up into his last pass being a pick six. It ends ugly for everyone if they stick around too long. It didn't even end great for Brady. It ended great for Peyton Manning because of his team, but he was still terrible in that 2015 season. Don't get too caught up in like the romanticism of it all. He can't go out like this. Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, is done. Partially because he has no choice because nobody's going to want him. And also, he's just another year. I understand he showed some flashes this season, but he's just not. When you watch him play, he looks washed. Even if the numbers don't always indicate it and they made the playoffs, he looks washed, like a shell of what he once was.
Tom Brady didn't end great, but when he ended in New England, he ended on a pick. And then where did he go? He went to the Bucks and won a Super Bowl, but he didn't end so great there.
I'm actually gonna sell this because I think he's going to retire, and then it's going to be like a Phillip Rivers situation. Well, maybe not to the extent of Phillip Rivers because Phillip Rivers did not look like he should be playing football. Did a fine job, but didn't look like he should be playing football. But he's going to get picked up off the street if a team really needs a quarterback down the stretch next year. He's going to unretire. It's going to be this huge thing like Aaron Rodgers loves it. So I'm going to sell this for that reason. But I think that's it. You guys got anything else?
Great
You guys
show,
good?
fellas.
All right, fellas. Great job. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for the support. We got 60 people in here. Make sure you subscribe, like the stream if you haven't already. We are live Sunday for Rams Bears. Excited for that. Should be a good matchup. If you didn't know, in Pick'em, I did take the Rams, and Jeff needs the Bears. That's important because I don't want to do the McDonald's challenge. So if ETN's in here, I believe ETN's the Rams fan, I believe. So
What's the McDonald's challenge? I'm a little out of the loop.
it's so the loser of Pick'em, which by the way, Mike, I mean I'm like 20-6.
Well, technically, I'm probably the loser because I stopped, but go on.
It is. So you have to stay in a McDonald's for 24 hours, and every menu item you eat is like minutes off. So like a Big Mac is like 45 minutes off, or like one we've been bringing up a lot is the big breakfast with like pancakes, eggs, sausage, biscuit, hash brown. That's 2 hours off. Jeff thinks he's going to be in there for like 17 hours. That's kind of what he alluded to, which I don't think that's true. I think, look, he's going to have to throw up at one point. He's just going to have to eat until he throws up and then keep eating. I would not want to stay in a McDonald's for 17 hours. But that's a situation he put himself in. Jeff, I love you, but I mean, come on.
There's got to be some on the menu that like takes up a bigger chunk of time to help.
That's what it is. It's the big breakfast.
Because he's just going to be eating McFlurries all day and taking 20 minutes off at a time.
Yeah, he needs. I think he. Well, look, the fat lady's not singing. It's not over. Flannel, we know best. Unless the fat lady is singing, it's not over. So I mean, Jeff could still come back, but I think I have a 5-game lead right now with like, 7 games left. So I don't know. We'll see. But we'll see you guys on Sunday for Bears, Rams. And yeah, so we got. Everybody have a great weekend, and peace out.